guys. Today is Thursday the 15th, and this is our skills lesson. So for our skills lesson today, you're going to need your reader and your skills book. Okay. All right, and we're going to start with our reader today. Okay, so today we're going to look at the story, The War Starts Again. We're going to look at something new, a run-on sentences. This is something a lot of us need work on. So this is going to be a good lesson. And then we're going to review adjectives and adverbs in sentences. So we're going to start with the story, The War Starts. Okay. Go ahead and find in chapter 3. And let's review the tricky words again. We have this word imagine, soldier, Washington. And then our vocabulary, we talked a lot about monarchies. So a monarchy is a government where it is ruled by a king or queen. And then fort is a defensive building for armies. All right. And then, of course, we have that CH sound we worked on yesterday. So what we're going to be doing, actually, is listening to our read aloud today. So I'd like for everybody to open your reader to our story, and we're going to listen to it today. So open up to page 30. I'm going to listen to the story today.
Chapter 3. The War Starts. Presidents have to make hard choices. James Madison had to decide whether to side with the Warhawks or with the merchants who hoped for peace. In the end, he sided with the Warhawks. Madison asked Congress to declare war. On June 18, 1812, the United States declared war on Great Britain. The Americans were in for a hard fight. The British had a huge army. They also had the world's biggest navy. But the British were already at war with France. They could only send some of their troops to fight the United States. That was a good thing for the Americans. It meant that the United States would have a better chance of winning. Even so, not a lot of people at the time could imagine that the United States could win. Today, the United States is a strong nation. It has been around for many years. It has a strong army and navy. But that was not the case in 1812. In 1812, the United States was not very old as a country. It had broken away from Great Britain only about 30 years before. The United States had a different kind of government, too. At the time, most of the nations of Europe were monarchies. That means they were ruled by kings or queens. A king or queen would rule until he or she died. Then, in most cases, the oldest son would take over. The United States was not a monarchy. It did not have a king or queen. Instead, it had a president. The president was chosen by voters. He did not get to serve until he died. He served for 4 years. Then the voters got a chance to pick their president. If they voted for a different president, the old one had to step down. In 1812, most people in the world felt that the American government had a very strange way of doing things. They were not sure that the system would last and that the United States would be able to survive. In 1812, the United States did not have a strong army. In fact, the U.S. Army was tiny. It had about 4,000 soldiers. The Navy was tiny, too. George Washington, the first president, had set it up. He didn't think the United States needed a big navy, but just a small number of ships to protect merchants from pirates. President Madison found a way to make the army bigger. He got farmers to join. Many Americans were farmers. They used guns to hunt and to defend their homes. Madison called on these farmers. He asked them to grab their guns and join the army. Farmers were paid money and given land for joining. The U.S. soldiers were not well trained. Still, Madison was sure they could win if they attacked the British in Canada. He sent the army north to Canada. The attack on Canada did not go well. The army lost a string of battles. The United States lost forts along the border. The army was simply not ready for war. No one expected much from the tiny U.S. Navy, but things went better on the seas than they did on land. The United States battled bravely. They beat the British in a number of naval battles.
Okay, look here real quick. See this word? Bravely. The United States battled bravely. Here's our verb, battled. How did they battle? Bravely. This is an adverb. Okay, we're going to look at that here in just a few minutes. Okay, so back to our lessons. We're going to be talking about complete versus incomplete sentences. So we know that there are two parts of a sentence that are needed in order for it to be considered complete. Who knows what they are? Remember? There's two parts. First part is called the last part is called, so the first part is the subject, and that's usually the who or what is doing something in the sentence, and then the predicate tells us what the subject is or has or does. It includes the verb and everything that comes after that. So we need the subject and a predicate. So a complete sentence must always have both a subject and a predicate. So let's look and see if any of these are complete or incomplete. The yellow flower, is that complete or incomplete? What do you think? Na, 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 na. It is incomplete. It only has a subject, the yellow flower. What about the yellow flower? Tell me something. You guys would think I was crazy if I just said, "Hey everyone, the yellow flower." What, Mrs. Medved? The yellow flower, what? The yellow flower. Okay, you'd think I was crazy. Next one, ready? Ran quickly up the street. Complete or incomplete? Let's see, complete or incomplete? Incomplete. It only has a predicate. See that verb ran? Ran quickly up the street. It doesn't tell you who or what is running quickly up the street. So again, if I came up to you and said, ran quickly up the street, you'd go, okay. Who ran quickly up the street? Or what ran quickly up the street? Tim ate a hamburger for lunch. Is this complete or incomplete? What do you think? Complete! So we have Tim as the subject and ate a hamburger for lunch as the predicate. Perfect. How about this one? Ate chips and watched television. Complete or incomplete? Ate chips and watched television. It is incomplete, because if I said this to you, you'd think I was crazy. Ate chips and watched television. You'd go, What are you talking about? Who ate chips and watched television? Ah, that part's missing. Oh, it went out again. Okay, here we go. Susan and Joan went to the movies. Susan and Joan went to the movies. Is this complete or incomplete? What do you think? Do we have a who or what? Do we know what the who or what is or has or does? It's complete. We have a who, Susan and Joan, and we know what they did. They went to the movies. The baseball team. Complete or incomplete? What do you think? Incomplete. If I said, the baseball team, you'd go, okay, what about the baseball team? Mrs. Medved, you haven't told us what it does, or is, or has, or anything. All right, so we're going to learn today now about something that's a little bit different. These are called run-on sentences, okay? If you imagine you're at the starting line in a race, you can see down there the finish line. It's got a big pretty red ribbon across it. And all you have to do is get to the end of that and stop, right? To win. So you're ready on your marks. Get set, and you're running, and you're running, and you're running, and you get to the finish line, and you keep running, and running, and running, and running, and running down the street, and up the hill, and down the hill, and over the mountains, and up to Denver, and down, and you keep running, and running, and running, and running. And you've done it too much. You've done too much. You've ran a million races instead of just one, okay? So what we're talking about here is sentences. So it's when you put two or more complete sentences together and they run together, they do more than they need to, and there's no appropriate punctuation. It just goes on and on and on and on and on and on and on. These are the sentences I'm talking about when I told you guys in your journals. Well, you guys wrote 4 facts, but I see 1 period. So you've put all your sentences together. These are all run-on sentences. So these are run-on sentences. The duck quacked, the chickens clucked. Well, the ducks quacked is a complete sentence. We know who or what, and we know what they did. They quacked. The chickens clucked is a complete sentence. We know who or what, the chickens, and we know they clucked. But when you put them together and do not include punctuation or capital letters, this is a run-on sentence because 2 complete sentences have been pushed together. All right? So there's a lot of ways you can fix this. So one way is to break the sentence into 2 separate sentences by using appropriate punctuation capitalization. So we could do the ducks quacked, period, capitalize the chickens clucked. So we could do that. We could take this run-on sentence and make it into 2 complete sentences. Just put the period and then add the capitalization. Another thing you can do is to combine the thoughts of the 2 sentences to make just 1 sentence. So let's look at that example. So we have the ducks quacked, the chickens clucked. We could combine the ideas and say the ducks quacked and the chickens clucked. Okay, that's okay. And is kind of like glue. Sticking the 2 sentences together. That's okay. And can be the glue. That works. So we can say the ducks quacked and the chickens clucked. That's together. That's fine. All right, so we're going to work on some run-on sentences, and then you're going to work on some run-on sentences for your homework today. So everybody get out your skills book, and we're going to open to our 12s. Let's see here. 12.1 and 12.2. So if you would please tear out 12.1 and 12.2. We are going to work on correcting some of these run-on sentences. So your homework is 12.2 and it's on Kami. So it's going to be really important that you guys use punctuation capitalization in Kami. Okay, if you need help with that, ask your parent to help you, okay? All right. So what we're going to do is look at these run-on sentences. So this sentence says, it says change each run-on sentence into 2 sentences, adding correct capitalization and punctuation. So this says, the flower is pink, it has 6 petals. So we've got 2 ideas here. We've got the flower is pink, and we have it has 6 petals. We're talking about 2 different thoughts. The flower is pink, and the flower has 6 petals. So we're going to write these as 2 sentences. Capitalize, the flower is pink, period. Capitalize it has 6 petals, period. Okay? Now on this, if you need to pause and get caught up, go for it. This is at your pace. Next one. The boy is eating an oyster. The oyster is big. We've got two thoughts again. We've got the boy, he's the subject, and he's eating the oyster. And then we have the oyster is the subject, and it's telling us what it's like. It's big. So two sentences. We have the boy is eating an oyster, period. And we have the oyster is big, period. Two thoughts. All right, next one we have Joyce enjoys eating fish. Roy enjoys eating steak. Two ideas. We have two subjects. We've got Joyce, and what does she do? She enjoys eating fish. And then we got another subject, Roy, and he enjoys eating steak. So we're going to make these into two sentences. Joyce enjoys eating fish, period. Roy enjoys eating steak, period. Next, we have the town is far away. It is 40 miles from here. So we're going to make two sentences. First thought is the town and how far away it is, that it's far away. The, capitalize the T, town is far away, period. Then we have this thought. It is the town again, is 40 miles from here. So we're going to capitalize it. It is 40 miles from here, period. Okay, last one. A cow is an animal. An owl is an animal too. We're going to make two sentences. A cow is an animal, period. Capital A for an owl is an animal too, period. Two sentences. Again, if you need to pause, go ahead. All right, now on the back, we're going to combine the sentences this time, like we saw in our example. We're going to combine them and make them into one sentence. So our first sentence is, the crowd is loud, the crowd is angry. So I'm going to use, the crowd is loud. I'm not going to use the crowd again. I'm just going to say, and angry. The crowd is loud and angry, period. See how easy that was? I took out the part that sort of repeated and just added and angry. The crowd is loud and angry. And it sounds better too. The crowd is loud. The crowd is angry. Okay, versus the crowd is loud and angry. All right, here's one. The clown rode the bike. It was red. Okay, I want to combine these two. These are two different sentences. The clown rode the bike and it was red are two separate sentences, both complete, but it's very repetitive. So I'm going to put it together to one sentence. The clown rode the red bike. Wow, that was really easy. All I had to do was add red in there. And then I'm not going to say this again. It was red. I'm just going to tell you it was red to begin with. The red bike. All right, the last one. I think cookies taste good. I think cupcakes taste good. Whoa, me too. Okay, so I'm going to say, I think cookies and cupcakes taste good. There you go. So, your homework tonight, you can pause this if you need to catch up, but it's good to have these done because they can help you on your homework. So in your homework tonight, you've got 2 things to do, just like we did. On the front, or the first page, you have 2 sentences. You're going to separate them and make them into 2 separate sentences. So here we have, do not push it, do not pull it. Do not push it, period. Do not pull it, period. You're going to do that with all of these sentences. Then on the second page, and there's one more back here, sorry, 5. Then on this part here, you're going to combine it like we did on the last part of our example. We're going to, instead of making them 2 separate sentences, we're going to do like what we did up here, okay? The stew is hot, the stew is spicy. We're going to say the stew is hot and spicy, okay? So that's what you're going to be doing. The biggest thing you're going to need to make sure that's clear is that you have capital letters where you need to have them and punctuation where you need to have them. And there's a few of you who need to make sure you're actually looking at these words and spelling them correctly, because I get crazy spellings and the words are right in front of you. All right, so that is your skills lesson for today. I hope you guys enjoyed it and have a good, easy time doing your homework, okay? Bye.